In a small, sunlit village nestled beneath the hills of the African savanna, there lived a weaver named Amara. Her hands were her magic, capable of turning simple threads into intricate tapestries that told stories of her people, of sunsets over golden grasslands, migrations of great herds, and the rising strength of the human spirit. Amara's work had begun to attract attention far beyond her village. Her fabrics were not just cloth, they were living artwork, filled with vibrant patterns of swirls in crimson, loops of indigo, and golden threads that shimmered like sunlight on water. Each design carried meaning, whispers of hope, unity, and heritage stitched into every corner. But as her fame grew, Amara learned a difficult truth about the world. Not every smile is genuine, and not every congratulation is pure. She discovered this through a painful encounter with someone she'd trusted most. Before we dive into Amara's story, a tale of friendship, betrayal, and the resilience of the human spirit, take a moment to subscribe to Storytime Africa. Our channel is for everyone who loves African folktales and life lessons. If this story inspires you, share it, because wisdom grows when it's passed on. Amara had always been kind-hearted, a soul who believed in celebrating every bit of joy with those she loved. Among her most cherished confidants was her childhood friend, Kessie. The two had grown up together, plucking mangoes from the same trees, playing in the river, and sitting at their grandmother's feet, listening to tales that painted the stars in their imaginations. To Amara, Kessie wasn't just a friend. She was a sister of the heart. Amara's resilience had been her greatest strength. Life had not always been easy. She had lost both her parents in her youth and grew up as the ward of her frail grandmother. Through those difficult times, weaving became her solace. While other children played, Amara would sit by her loom, her hands working tirelessly to create patterns inspired by the beauty she dreamed of bringing to the world. Years of dedication shaped her craft into something extraordinary. One morning, as the sun filtered through the trees dancing on her woven masterpieces, an elder from a neighboring village arrived at her door. He was awestruck by her work, and after negotiations, he invited her to present her fabrics at an upcoming fair in the regional market. It was an opportunity Amara had prayed for, a chance to go beyond the village, to be seen by those who could help her reach even greater heights. Unable to contain her excitement, Amara ran to Kessie that very moment. She rushed into her friend's home, her face glowing with the news. Kessie, you won't believe it. The elders have asked for my work, and I'll be presenting in the market fair." Kessie smiled. A wide, bright smile that didn't quite match the dim flicker in her eyes. Deep in her chest, a storm brewed. For while Amara's success should have been shared joy between them, Kessie couldn't help but taste bitterness. In their youth, they had shared dreams of greatness, both hoping to escape the claustrophobia of the tiny village. But over time, Kessie's goals had faded, her ambitions dulled by frustration and her envy sharpened by Amara's growing skill. As Amara excitedly explained her plans, sketching ideas in the air with her hands, Kessie silently simmered. "Of course, my friend, I will pray for your success," Kessie said with a sweet smile that masked the resentment bubbling within. But while Kessie outwardly supported her friend, inwardly, she began plotting. She would not allow Amara to outshine her, to leave her behind in their little village. As the day of the fair drew closer, Amara focused on her preparations. Her woven fabrics became even more breathtaking. New patterns of broad strokes in royal purple, delicate zigzags in emerald, and rich streaks of earth-toned browns that felt like home. She worked tirelessly late into the nights. The rhythmic creak of her loom filled her home with purpose and urgency. Amara didn't notice how Kessie grew colder, her smiles more forced and her visits less frequent. Amara believed in Kessie, believed that they shared an unshakable bond. The morning of the fair, Amara awoke buzzing with possibilities. Her nerves felt like small birds fluttering inside her chest, but she was determined to showcase her work. As she hurried to gather her fabrics to load them onto the cart, a terrible discovery stopped her in her tracks. The blankets of woven wonders she had spent months creating were missing. Slowly, dread twisted her stomach. Heartbroken, her mind raced with questions. Who would do this? Why? At that moment, she recalled something odd. Kessie's recent distance, her strange remarks about the fair being a foolish pursuit. Amara did not want to believe it. Confronting a betrayal of such magnitude by someone she had trusted was almost unbearable. Yet she pushed forward. She wasn't going to let anything stop her. With the few leftover pieces she had, Amara improvised. She worked as fast as her hands could move, creating enough smaller tapestries to still attend the fair. Her designs that day might not have been as elaborate, but they dripped with an unmistakable beauty crafted from hope and determination. At the market fair, Amara hesitated, worried whether she belonged among the wealthier, more prepared merchants. But as her fabrics unfurled, the crowd gasped. Mothers whispered to daughters. Traders reached for their pouches. Even with far less than planned, Amara's heart and resilience shone brighter than any setback. Word traveled quickly, and by the end of the day, Amara was surrounded by people eager to support her work. Merchants negotiated contracts to showcase her fabrics in cities far away, and she returned to her village with not just money, but hope rekindled. When Casey saw Amara return, triumphant despite the setback, guilt weighed heavily upon her. At first, she avoided Amara, hoping to bury her wrongdoings beneath silence. But one day, unable to look herself in the mirror any longer, Cassie knocked on Amara's door. Through tears, Cassie confessed, "It was me, Amara. I took your fabrics. I was jealous. I thought if I couldn't succeed, how could I watch you leave me behind?" Amara's heart ached at the betrayal, but her spirit remained unbroken. She opened the door wider and invited Kessie inside, pouring tea as they sat. "Kessie," she said softly, "you hurt me deeply. But we grew up together, and I know that somewhere you are better than the choices you made." Kessie sobbed, overwhelmed by the forgiveness she didn't deserve. "Why would you forgive me after what I've done to you?" Amara smiled gently. "Our elders teach us that jealousy shrinks the spirit. Holding on to pain does the same. I let go of pain to grow, not just in my craft, but in my heart." The two women began rebuilding their friendship. Although it took time and trust was slow to return, Amara continued to thrive, her fabrics becoming known all around the region. And Kessie, inspired by Amara's spirit, began working on her own dreams once again. Slowly, she found purpose in teaching village children how to weave, embedding her love for their culture into the next generation. Through this tale, the lesson comes clear. Not all good news is meant to be shared too soon, for not all hearts are prepared to celebrate your joy. Caution and discretion can protect the flame of your dreams while it's still fragile. But even beyond that, this story teaches us the power of resilience, the beauty of continuing despite betrayal, and the freedom found in forgiveness. Thank you for spending your time with Storytime Africa. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who might need a little wisdom today. Subscribing means joining a community where folklore and life lessons spark meaningful conversations. Until next time, remember, protect your dreams and always choose growth over pain.